Now, one thing you might have noticed that's missing from the Insta360 X4 Air is the pure video mode. But this does not mean you cannot capture nighttime footage with the X4 Air. With the right settings, the Insta360 X4 Air is capable of capturing some pretty incredible footage at nighttime. But you do need one tool, and that tool is a gimbal. And the reason you need that gimbal is because when your shutter speed is slower, you're going to get jitter in your footage if you don't have the gimbal, because there's going to be too much shake to your camera, and the flow state electronic image stabilization is not going to be able to stable that footage properly. There is going to still be that jitter in your footage after it's stabilized. So the gimbal that I recommend is the Fiutech Scorp Mini 3 Pro. And this is an incredible gimbal. It's a great choice for action cameras, but it also works well with smartphones, and it works well with DSLR and mirrorless cameras. So this gimbal is a great investment, especially if you use a lot of cameras to film with. And one note about the gimbal is going to limit your ability to reframe later on, because the gimbal is going to be in part of the footage. So do note that when you have this mounted on a gimbal, you're going to need to record the footage in front of you and then a little bit to the left side. But on the right side, you're going to have that bracket there on the gimbal. So you are going to be limited with the gimbal. But if you want to get good footage with your X4 Air at nighttime, this is how you do it. All right, so the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure you are in video mode. So we're going to go right there to video mode. And then next you're going to click down here in the bottom, and you want to be in 8K 30, but you do want to make sure adaptive tone is turned off. Adaptive tone doesn't necessarily help us with footage at nighttime, so we want to turn it off. And then we want to swipe in from the right, and we're going to click down here on M. M is for manual. We're going to change some key exposure settings that are going to help you get really nice footage. So here where it says standard, there are a couple options here. If you want to do a little bit of grading later on, you can select flat, and that's going to give you a little more flexibility over contrast and saturation. But generally I find that standard looks really good at nighttime, and I don't have to do much to the footage. And then this part where it says portrait mode, we're going to keep that off. And then down here for the shutter speed, if you were filming in 30 frames per second, you want to set this to 1/60. 1/60 is that 180-degree shutter angle, and a 1/60 shutter speed is also going to allow a good bit of light into your camera. And that is key at nighttime, especially with smaller sensors on action cameras. You want to let in as much light as possible for the best possible image. And then over here for the ISO, at nighttime, I like to set this to 1600 on this camera. Now 1600 on a lot of action cameras can introduce a lot of grain and noise, but on this camera, this has a really good noise reduction algorithm. And I find I can go to 1600, and then when I reframe it later on in the Insta360 app, it's going to come out looking really nice. It's going to take care of any of that noise that is still there. And then over here for the white balance, you want to set this to a manual value. And at nighttime, you want to go to 3800K. That is an excellent white balance for nighttime, and it's going to give you that perfect color to your footage. After you've set those settings, you are good to go. Mount this on your gimbal and start recording. If you'd like to learn more about how to get the best footage with the X4 Air, check out this playlist right here.